Hello, bienvenue. This is live at Roland-Garros on a soggy Saturday evening. The good news is that a number of the third-round matches have been completed, so we do have plenty to look back on. As always, we'd love you to get in touch with the show. Hashtag RG17, and it's not just for the time that we're with you. Get in touch, comments, questions, anything that's on your mind. We'll try and get to them during the show, and we will be looking at them when we are not on air. I'm very happy to say that this evening, alongside myself and Camille in the studio, we've got the Swiss Fed Cup captain, Heinz Günther. Heinz, they said the rain was coming. We had to expect it at some point. It finally arrived.
Well, Roland-Garros is two different tournaments. When it's dry and hot, also for the players, it's quick. And when it's like this, it's very heavy. So, they're professionals. Everybody needs to adapt. So do we.
I remember when Camille was first on the show, I asked her how it felt as a former player, former French player, to come back to Roland-Garros. As a former champion here in the doubles and mixed, how does it feel for you every year when you come back to Roland-Garros?
Looking back, I've been here 40 times. I hate to say that. That makes me kind of
old.
That's a long time. That's a long, long time. I know. It's a long, long time. So what I find interesting is that, of course, I remember how it was. 1976 was the first time I was here. And everything was much smaller. The center court was kind of similar, but we had this locker room and we had like a window there that we kept open because it was very hot there in the locker room. And the crowd would walk by and we would talk to them and things like that. We would play cards. Yeah. And nowadays everything is different, but yet it still has retained this atmosphere. It's still Roland-Garros.
From your time as a coach and as a player, what's the one memory? What's the one thing that stands above everything else?
Well, as a player, obviously winning a title, so winning that doubles was great. I mean, you would like to win the singles, but I certainly wasn't good enough, not on this surface anyway. I enjoyed that. And as a coach, there were some fantastic moments here with Steffi, especially the last year, because so many experts recommended that she would not play. I say experts, but, maybe they weren't such expert. And I remember having a discussion with her before, and, simple truth is you can only win a tournament if you participate. So it makes no sense not to try. That was basically my point.
It's wonderful to look back at these pictures, to see the smile on her face, and shortly we're going to see the smile on your face and just general delight.
Oh, absolutely. You put a lot of work into it, and, it was a difficult time for her because she had a lot of injuries. And, coming back is always difficult. And at that time, yes, she was fit, but it was kind of difficult to really do what you wanted to do. So we had to use our time on the court a little bit better. And it felt like this was the last shot at it as well.
And what is your relation with her right now? Because those feelings are strong. I mean, you can keep them in mind for ages. And when you see her, do you still feel, this confidence between the two?
Yeah, there's a certain amount of trust. We worked together for 8 years, and you have a lot of ups and downs. And even, she had some family issues. Most people know about them. So obviously, you know very much about the other person. I know her. She knows me. There are very few people that she knows as well as me, and the other way around as well. So it's not that we talk very often, but when we do, there's a certain familiarity. We know what we're talking about, and there's a certain feeling that you don't have with very many people.
Yeah, you'll always have that bond. Now, this year, both of you work in television, and wonderfully, you were both commentating on the same match today involving former French Open champion, Swiss player Stan Wawrinka. So from both of you, as we remind ourselves of his match against Fabio Fognini, who did need a fair bit of treatment. Starting with you, Heinz, how do you feel he played today? How do you feel he's playing his way into the tournament?
Well, he's playing extremely well. He's one of the few players out there that can hit the ball through the court even when it's not warm, when it's wet. That makes him extremely dangerous. And in the first set, I have to say, Fabio played great. But when he counted, Stan was there. It just had this little bit of extra, and he's had this little bit of extra very often in Grand Slam tournaments. So just looking at him, the way he's hitting the ball, the way he's acting between points, and the way he's playing the big points, I must give him a good shot at this tournament.
And can we, again, we don't really spend a lot of time talking about Stan Wawrinka. He just goes out there and makes his way through the draw.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing so good and in the shadow, like he's doing his job and he's so focused. Like sometimes, I don't know, Heinz, what do you think, but sometimes he's a little bit up and down on first rounds. And to this year, he's like, okay, 9 sets in a row and he's focused, you know, between the points when he starts to play. And this is, for me, a new stand. He was very good, but now I think with his backhand with magic today, he can hit from anywhere in the court, you know, like magnific backhand and serving. But the mental part is just amazing, I think.
Well, you know, I think he's played well at Grand Slam tournaments for quite some time. He's won one the last 3 years. And the reason for that, I believe, is because, you know, what I usually say, his engine is like a diesel engine. He needs a bit of time. And this best-of-5 format is very good for him, also this 128 draw, because when he runs into some tough opponents first rounds, sometimes, you know, in other tournaments, he doesn't play quite as well. He gets a bit of, you know, gets stressed. He tries to finish the points early, and he doesn't really have that margin as he has here, you know. And I find the way he's been playing this week, I find he reminds me very much the way he played when he won the French, actually. There, for me, the key match was about the 3rd or 4th round when suddenly his attitude changed, and he had almost like 2 gears out there. Because he's able to keep the ball in play when he wants to at a certain speed. He just adds a bit more of topspin. But then he has these big, heavy shots when he needs it, and his serve started to go. And today, it was the same thing. You know, he waited when he needed to. He hit big when he needed to, and his serve was there on big points.
Now, we're very lucky that he was in first gear and he did win his match, because then the rain came. You wouldn't be here, neither of you. I'd be talking to myself if play was still taking place. Play has been suspended, but we have still sent Nick out and about. And Nick, you hope to have a couple of Frenchmen going at it hard behind you, but nothing.
Well, I'm braving the rain out here, Gigi. Yes, as you mentioned, Richard Gasquet and Gael Monfils were on court. They were sent off, and I'm sad to report we've just heard that there will be no more match play today. The rain came about just after 5 p.m. They did not put the tarps on. There was hope that we would continue, and then much to our chagrin, the tarps came on, and Monfils and Gasquet and the rest of the matches around Roland-Garros were sent off. Now, Richard Gasquet had saved 3 set points at 4-5 serving, and he was serving 5-6 down when that match was called off. So obviously disappointment now. A little bit ironic. Yesterday we had a lot of rain forecasts. We avoided it for the most part. And then today we really didn't think the rain would come, and it did. So Mother Nature giving us a little bit of a balance there.
Thank you, Nick. So confirmation of what Nick just told us. There will be no more play today. The rain continues to come down. The light's not great because there's a lot of cloud cover. No more match play today. Luckily for us, though, our match of the day was completed. It involved the world #1 last year's finalist taking on Juan Martin Del Potro. And here for you is how the action unfolded.
Juan Martin Del Potro, Andy Murray.
Camille, we highlighted this, you highlighted this as your match of the day, and it turned out to be a good professional performance from the world number one.
Yeah, we were expecting a lot, from this match. The first set was a great set. Like the tie break was whoa, was so emotional. But in the end, Del Potro, he didn't last. Physically maybe it was very difficult for him. Last week in Lyon, I felt that he was maybe not that fit physically, and for him he had a lot of injuries, not a lot of matches, played, and I think this first set was the key. He made a double fault on the set point, and he fought a lot to get this set. He couldn't make it, and then maybe like mentally and physically he just dropped a little bit. And Murray, he's just so steady, and it made the difference.
Because Heinz, a lot of people have been looking at Murray because he hasn't had the great start to the year, injury and illness. His clay season wasn't what he wanted it to be coming into here, but he seems to be finding his rhythm.
Absolutely, and it's much harder to beat him best of five for the reason that Camille just mentioned, because he keeps you out there, one set, two sets, and so on and so forth, and people know that. So it feels like against Andy that you need to win one of the first two sets, otherwise you're out, and hopefully the first one. And, it's not so spectacular the way he played the first set. He waits a lot and sometimes misses a shot here and there, but he does not miss when it really counts. And these drop shots, he missed a few of them in the beginning, but afterwards, they took their toll. And, man, it's hard to run them down in the third and the fourth.
How are you feeling about Novak Djokovic at the moment? Still some people scratching their heads about exactly where we're at with him.
I think everybody does, but, he keeps on winning. And sometimes you need a tough fight like he had against Diego Schwartzman to play your best tennis. And I just have the feeling if he gets to the semis and he sees maybe Rafa on the other side, well, he lost him in Madrid, but before that, he basically owned him pretty much. That is a completely different match because he just feels like he has everything to lose before he gets there. And then it becomes different because it's about winning the tournament. And he might just discover the Novak of the old.
And do you like this link up with Andre Agassi?
These kind of things, if he believes it works, it does work already. There's this placebo effect. He looks out and Andre's sitting there and yes, he says something or he says nothing and he feels like I have somebody in my corner that's important. And if he makes him play a little bit better, a little makes all the difference out there.
And Camille, Rafa Nadal, 31 years of age today. He was given a cake. He was given some presents by Roland-Garros. He seemed a very happy man, and he should be with the way he's playing, especially that last win against Horacio Zeballos. He lost one game.
But he played amazing because Basilashvili is a tough guy. I mean, he's hitting the ball so hard, and I don't know how he could play this level for that long. He played like amazing, and we knew he was physically there, but his tennis is amazing. I think he improved. Like now he can come to the net. The volleys are great, and so he's good everywhere, and he's strong mentally like ever. And I was really surprised that he could produce this level still. He's 31, but he played a lot. He's not like Roger Federer, playing easier, He's just fighting every time, and he's coming back, and he's stronger than before. That's my point of view, yeah.
When you had to make a prediction, Heinz, who did you predict to lift the men's title at the end of the 2 weeks?
Well, obviously, Rafa is the favorite, but I feel that he's not quite as good on defense as he used to be. Okay. I mean, he's still very good, obviously, but he was basically, when he was at his best, almost unplayable because he got the best shots back. So you went out there, I saw it several times, Roger, he hit the perfect forehand he felt, and he got past anyway. And, and just people were out there and literally felt they didn't know what to do. And now, every so often, people hit winners where Rafa is quite a long way from the ball. So at least you kind of get an idea how you could possibly do it. Is anyone going to be able to do it? Well, that's another question. But I just get a feeling that people believe much more because it's a little bit easier to hit winners against him now.
And another name we're throwing into the mix at the moment because he had that amazing win against him in Rome in Dominic Thiem. Now, we spoke to Gunter Resnick, Dominic Thiem's coach, and he doesn't feel he's quite ready yet to be winning Grand Slams and isn't quite sure he could get through both Nadal and Djokovic in this draw. But he's definitely one to watch, and he's the second best player on clay this year.
Well, certainly you can't be sure. But does he have a chance? well, is definitely in with a chance. And then I don't know, how the two talk to each other, if he plays better when he doesn't have that much pressure on his shoulders, all that kind of psychology. For years, Rafa came to the French and he said, oh, it would be fantastic if I make the second week. You remember those things? I'd be so happy if and then he wins it for the 7th time in a row. I mean, psychology, is this thing that is hard to put a hand on. What how do you handle it the proper way? And it just seems to me that Bresnik basically tries to keep team focused, just wants him to play like it's any other tournament and don't think about winning yet.
Which is fair enough. So we're talking about Nadal being an overwhelming favourite for the men's draw. Heinz, when you look at the women's draw, it's completely the opposite. You can ask 10 people and almost get 10 different names.
Absolutely. Maybe 20. Well, depends how far you go into the tournament. I think everyone is in with a chance, and I think it shows. And obviously I'm Swiss, and we have Timea Paczynski still playing extremely well. Has not lost more than 2 games a set. Going out there, and the way she is going about it, you feel like she knows she's in with a chance.
You do feel that she's playing that way, Timea Paczynski. She's got that confidence, she's got that focus when she's out on court.
Yeah, and I think she has done well here, and now she doesn't have any complex. She, to my point of view, she's like, okay, I can make it because I'm good, because I know how to deal with those moments, in Grand Slams. Now I have experience, and she's such a great player, and she has a great mental. I used to play her, and she's fighting a lot. So all those things, and with the experience, it counts a lot on these moments where everything is open. It could be a pressure, to Serena is not there. So, okay, maybe I can make it this year. So you have to just stay focused on what you're doing and do not think a lot about this open draw, for the girls.
But Serena's not there, but Venus is there for Timea in the next round. How do you see that matchup?
Well, they played last year, but Venus is much better actually this year, physically, I think. Last year she did not move well at all in that match. It's difficult really to know because Timea has played so well, there simply has not been any opposition whatsoever. So I have no idea how she'll react once it gets tight. And I assume there are going to be some moments where she has to produce the tennis when she's down, break points and so on and so forth, because Venus is such a dangerous player, even on this surface. And you're talking about girls thinking they're in with a chance. I mean, Venus must think I'm in with a chance.
Completely.
Absolutely. Especially after the Australian Open.
So I am going to pin you down for one name who is going to win the women's title at the end of these 2 weeks, Heinz. And if you give me one name, I'll let you go. If you don't, I'm going to keep you here until I get that name.
Oh, God. This one is impossible. Being Swiss, I have to go with Timea. Absolutely.
Perfect.
But it's maybe not, it's not a cerebral choice, so to speak. It's more a choice of the heart.
We like the choice of the heart. You gave me a name, so you are allowed to go now. But thank you so much for spending the time to be with us. Enjoy the rest
pleasure.
of the tournament. You're going to be taking Camille with you as well. So Camille,
of course,
thank you also for your time. And I'm going to head back to Nick. Nick, last time you were protecting yourself with an umbrella on Chatrier. Where have you moved to now?
Hi, Gigi. We're hiding underneath the overhang outside of Chatrier, and I'm joined by Olga. Olga, where are you from?
I'm from Poland.
Okay, and now I wanted to know, Olga didn't get a full day of tennis in, but what matches did you get to watch today?
We were on the main court, so at the beginning we watched Agnieszka Radwańska. We kept our fingers crossed for her, but unfortunately not so good day today. Maybe next year. And
Andy Murray too, right?
Andy Murray with Del Potro. So we were keeping fingers crossed for Del Potro, and unfortunately also a bad day, but it was a fantastic match, especially first two
sets. Sure, of course. Now I want to know, it's your first year at Roland-Garros, so I want to know who you think is going to win the tournament.
I already know who is going to win. It's, of course, Rafa Nadal.
Oh, she's picking Rafa Gigi. I got someone to give me their pick.
Nick, I was just going to congratulate you. You have got someone to give you a prediction for the tournament. So thank you very much to Nick. So Nick's going to maybe find out some more predictions a little bit later. Confirmation, if you're just joining us, that play has been suspended for the day. It's been a little bit of a soggy Saturday. They said there was going to be lots of rain yesterday. We didn't get lots of rain until the very, very end. But it is quite heavy. It's persistent. There's lots of cloud cover. Even if the rain cleared up, it would be be too dark to resume play. A handful of matches will be completed. We'll show you those a little bit later. But before that, one lady who played in the sunshine of early yesterday is Sam Stosur. And following her win, she joined us on set to have a chat. And firstly, about how much she loves coming back to Roland-Garros.
Well, Sam Stosur, welcome to Live at Roland-Garros. What is it for you about this place? You're back in to the second week.
Yeah, I just love playing here. I've obviously had some good results as the years have gone by, and I'm really happy to be in the second week again. So feeling good, and hopefully I can keep it going.
We're missing Victoria Azarenka, Serena Williams, Maria Sharapova, that this is as open as we've seen in the women's draw. Do you feel that way? I mean, Simona Halep, Garbiñe Muguruza, they've said pretty much anyone could win this draw. Do you feel that way, and does it play on your mindset at all?
Look, I mean, there's obviously some big names that aren't here and some that have already gone out of the draw, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be any easier for any particular person to go through. And I think especially now as you get into the second week, everyone's won 3 matches or 4 matches as you keep going, and everyone's got that confidence and that boost. So, you know, it's still very hard to win a Grand Slam. And, yeah, who knows? It's certainly up for grabs, that's for sure, but I wouldn't necessarily say that because they're gone, it makes life any easier on the rest of us.
Yeah, you've still got to win those 7 matches. That's not easy.
No, exactly. So I guess there's a bunch of us that know what that feels like, and then there's still a whole heap of maybe younger players who haven't experienced that yet. But yeah, look, it'll be interesting how it pans out.
Sam, you've been the top Australian for almost 9 years, something like 450 weeks. That was under threat last week when you played Daria Gavrilova in the final in Strasbourg. But what have the players like Gavrilova and Ash Barty done for your career in the sense of they're these younger Aussies that have come up? Do you feel like they've given you a new perspective or kind of driven you in a different way?
Look, I think mostly it's just nice to have some other Aussies out on tour again. Obviously, Dasha has been a high ranked and obviously very close to taking over that spot of that I've been able to hold for so long, and it's fantastic to have Ash back, and now she's really kind of got herself inside the top 100, and I'm sure going to keep making gains along the way. And but yeah, it's just nice to have some more Aussies on tour. I guess knowing that they're hot on my heels, it certainly inspires you, and I guess in some ways motivates to keep going. But I think overall we're all really supportive of each other, and I think that's probably the best thing. And that was probably one of the great things about Strasbourg last week, with Dasha and myself being in the singles final and Ash and Case winning the doubles. So it was a really great camaraderie there, and we loved the week. So we'll try and do it all again here.
Sam Stosur speaking a little bit earlier yesterday with Nick. Eli, welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Managing to stay dry and warm?
Not exactly warm, but dry.
But dry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. We're not going to complain.
We're talking with Heinz about how open the women's draw is. I said you could probably name 10 names. He said, maybe if you thought about it, you could put 20 names in there, and Sam Stosur would be among them.
Yeah, Sam Stosur, she's done great here in the past. 3-time semifinalist, 1-time finalist. She loves playing here. She loves playing on clay. And in fact, a few years ago, I interviewed her, and she said to me, I would love for Roland-Garros to be in Melbourne, because it suits her so well to play on these clay, or bring the Australian Open to Paris. I don't know what it is, whether it's the clay or playing in Paris, but she's always done great here in the past. And yeah, she's doing good, and she can legitimately, hope to go far and deep into this tournament like a bunch of other girls.
Yep. Up next, Jelena Ostapenko, and some people said the way Ostapenko's playing, she could go win the whole tournament. We have had some matches that were completed today while there's a little bit of sunshine. We were getting quite excited we'd get through the whole order of play, but we haven't. But we do begin with a French player in Elise Cornet. Now, she went into this match with Agnieszka Radwanska trailing 7-1 in the head-to-head.
Yeah, Elise Cornet, Radwanska never really showed up. 6-2, 6-1. Elise Cornet, great performance, makes it to the round of 16. Her best result here at Roland-Garros. And she will play Caroline Garcia. Watch out, all French match. A French girl in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, look at the delight on the face of Elise Cornet. A man we haven't spoken about, and he's got through 3 rounds without dropping a set, is Marin Cilic.
Marin Cilic in a great hurry to finish his match. I think he had a movie to catch or something. He said earlier today that he's playing his best tennis on clay this ever. He's through without noise. Watch out for him.
You mentioned Garcia was playing Cornet next, but she had to fight 9-7 in the third against Su Weisheng.
Caroline Garcia through to the round of 16 of all Grand Slams. The first time she makes it to the round of 16 in a Grand Slam. It happens at home in France, 9-7. She's playing Cornet. It's going to be an emotional one.
Kevin Anderson still making his way back from injury, and this was a real opportunity for either Anderson or Kyle Edmund to go through, and eventually it was the South African.
The big man from Johannesburg makes it to the round of 16. He's done that twice here in the past, and both times loses to David Ferrer. This time, it's Marin Cilic on the other
It's
side
not
of the
going to
net.
be losing to David Ferrer.
No, that's for sure.
Caroline Wozniacki's match was suspended last night against Cici Bellis due to rain and bad light, but she comes through today.
Yeah, she comes through. Her best result here is a quarterfinal in 2010 when she lost to Schiavone, so she's hoping to do as good.
We're always talking about Garbina Muguruza. There's another Spanish lady in town, Carla Suarez Navarro.
Carla Suarez Navarro, one of the most beautiful backhand on the women's tour, the one-handed, elegant backhand. She's through in 2 sets, and she is happy to be there. Always a big smile on her face. Nice to see her there.
And finally, someone who is having a very special tournament. He is also from Spain. He is called Fernando Verdasco. It started with defeating Sasha Zverev in the first round. Today, what a win over Pablo Cuevas in straight sets.
Yeah, Fernando Verdasco back in the spotlight, playing amazing tennis. He's never, though, made it past the round of 16 for a Spaniard in Paris, which is odd because usually they go deep. He plays Andy Murray in the next round. So that's going to be a challenge for both players. And, you know, who knows? Fernando Verdasco might make it past that fatal round for him.
Yeah, he's a wily character, Fernando Verdasco. Now, I feel bad, Nick, that we're keeping you out there in the cold and rain. You've got a jumper on, so at least you're a little bit warm. But what are you up to now?
Gigi, I'm feeling bright and sunny because I finally got someone to give me their pick to win this tournament. The mood out here, Gigi, it's damp. The rain persists. Obviously, play has been called off for the rest of the day. But Olga and others telling me out here, you know what? We had a great day of tennis. It's past 7 p.m. People starting to pack up and leave the grounds, maybe grab a little bit of a bite to eat, and then head home.
Thank you, Nick. You can now come in and get dry. You do have your prediction. That was your mission for the day. You got a prediction from Olga. So big thanks to Olga. We got a prediction for Nick McCarville. And we're on what? Day 6? Day 6, Nick.
Thank you,
took
Olga.
Day 6. Right. It's that time of the show. I think this is a fantastic thing that we do. It's going into the locker rooms. It's something you just can't find anywhere else. The cameras are in there. The players don't seem to mind that the cameras are in there. And we get a little behind the scenes look at what they get up to when they're waiting in the locker room. Is it weird that I could just sit and watch hours of that? Is that a bit weird?
Yeah, well, it's fun because you're not used to seeing that. It's interesting. I was watching a piece where Michael Yodra was explaining what's going on in the locker room, and there's a French quarter in the locker room. Yeah. There's this area where the French guys like to regroup, and they're always there every year. And then there's locker number 30, which is the locker of Rafael Nadal.
Yeah, of course.
Always stays there.
Now he's 31. Do you think he'll move?
I don't know. I don't think so.
He's a man.
He's
a man that knows exactly what he wants, and he'll do exactly what he wants. Now, this stage of the show would normally run through the order of play for tomorrow. We don't have it because the committee are working out how they're going to space all these matches that didn't finish. So we've picked out the matches. We do know they're going to be taking place. We're not sure what time, what order, or one court. Let's start with the women's side of draw. We try and piece together what is happening in the competition. So let's bring that up first. These are just a few of the matches taking place. We touched on Ostapenko against Stosur, Wozniacki against Kuznetsova, Muguruza against Mladenovic, and Venus Williams. We spoke about this with Heinz Gunther against Tamir Baczynski. Some big matches.
Yeah, I like Venus Williams, Baczynski. I think that's going to be a fun match to watch. Baczynski is a fighter. Venus Williams, well, we don't have to present her anymore. It's going to be very entertaining.
Yeah, Muguruza Mladenovic. Right, let's take a look at the men in action. And just to confirm, we don't know which courts or what time. It does depend on the weather and how they space things. Lots of Spaniards in action tomorrow. Milos Raonic faces Pablo Carreno Busta. Roberto Bautista Agut against Rafa Nadal. Dominic Thiem against Horacio Zeballos, who came through when David Goffin could not continue with the damage to his right ankle. And Albert Ramos Viñolas against Novak Djokovic. So your match of the day on the men's side is, Eli?
Albert Ramos Viñolas, Novak Djokovic. I think that's a very serious test for Novak Djokovic. If he gets past this player relatively easily, then that means Novak is back in business.
Eli, thank you for your time. That's all we've got time for this evening. Just a reminder that players being suspended for this evening. The rain continues to fall. It's a little bit cold, but we're hoping to have a nice, bright, sunny day tomorrow, and all those matches will be placed on the courts. For the order of play, go to RolandGarros.com. Keep checking that throughout the evening. Hashtag RG17 if you'd like to get in touch. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow, but we're going to leave you tonight with a mouth-watering tie that will be, I'm sure this is going to be on Philippe Chatrier tomorrow. It is the defending champion Garbina Muguruza taking on Kristina Mladenovic. Bye for now.
I think the more matches I play and the toughest victories, I think gives you that self-confidence, that, I don't know, that successful feeling out there. And I think it's important with all the 3 matches that I played that are not easy at all.
I think it's such a nice head-to-head coming up for everybody. I think for the tournament, for the crowd, for us, and it's gonna be tough. She's obviously playing great tennis, had also tough matches, which shows that she's in a great rhythm, and looking forward to this one.